on the Hawkeye Sports Network from Learfield. This is the Fight for Iowa podcast. Here's the voice of the Hawkeyes, Gary Dolphin.
Growing up in small-town western Iowa, the youngest of 9 kids, one of the lessons that Philadelphia 76ers coach Nick Nurse learned was the value of hard work on the farm and around the house was translucent with his love for basketball and music. One of the all-time great players at Carroll Kemper High School and bullseye shooter at Northern Iowa in the early 1990s, Nurse caught the coaching bug. His first head job was at Grandview College in Des Moines. Then he went to South Dakota before a successful run with the D-League's Iowa Energy in Des Moines, where Nurse won a pair of division titles. The Toronto Raptors gave Nurse his NBA break in 2013 as an assistant coach. He was promoted to the head job in 2018 and rewarded the franchise with its first NBA title the following year. Now starting his 3rd season with the 76ers, Nurse is hoping to keep his top 2 veteran stars, Joel Embiid and Paul George, healthy to go with phenom shooter Tyrese Maxey in making a run to the playoffs. Nurse calls Iowa's Kirk Ferentz one of his coaching idols and Bobby Hansen a boyhood hero. When I sat down with Nick Nurse at a recent fundraiser for his foundation, he thanked his mother for forcing him to stick with those piano lessons. Now an accomplished keyboard player, Nurse calls music one of his stress relievers.
I've started, my mom kind of forced me to play the piano as a kid, and I hated it because I wanted to be outside, chasing the basketball or football or whatever it was around. It was kind of one of those things I wish I would have done better as a kid, right? And picked it up a little bit later on in life. Probably really started playing earnestly when I came back to the Iowa Energy. It really kind of hit me then that I wanted to restart studying this and took some lessons and all that stuff. But these guys are incredible musicians that let me come on stage with them, and I just try to keep up, and they're very helpful, and it's such a fun hobby for me.
How did growing up in Iowa, coaching in Iowa, meeting all the people helped you along the way, both here in town and around the state, how did that help guide your NBA career?
Well, I think, Dolph, you know this, but first and foremost, there is a work ethic that is in the vibe. It's just in the vibe in Iowa. We were detasseling corn and walking beans and baling hay and painting houses and we were working when we were able to work, and it was just kind of part of the fabric. And I just feel like and then you get a job and kind of have these things in the back of your head of do more than you're paid to do, work long hours, and it just doesn't seem like such a job or a chore because you're kind of in that rhythm from a young age. So, and as you said it, part of the reason I love coming back here is in doing stuff in Carroll is this environment, this town, the sports fever that they have. They all love sports. Great coaches. I always shake my head thinking back how great the teachers and coaches were at my high school, and for them to end up here and to stay here and have such an impact on kids. And I just want to, a couple of those things there, just want to make sure those things keep going.
I know you think the world of Kirk Ferentz for the way he carries himself.
Yes. Oh, man. Love watching the team play, first of all. I just really, really love watching them. It's kind of leading right into basketball season, and it's fun being on the road. And, I'm figuring out when the Hawkeyes are playing and all that stuff, and obviously gotten to talk to them a lot. But listen, it's just, for me, I have tremendous respect for guys. I mean, first of all, he's a great coach. We don't need to go into that. But I just, there's such a culture. There's such a fundamental foundation. He teaches players how to do the really important things that impact winning. They just do things the right way and do them well. Sometimes not that sexy, right? But that to me is almost, in this day and age, is almost even more credit that you can get guys to do the fundamental stuff, do them hard, play hard, care about each other, all those kind of things.
Bobby Hansen. What comes to mind when I say Bobby Hansen?
Geez, great. Bobby Hansen, what comes to mind is his high school state championship. Because, it was 79, I believe, but I had two first cousins that went to Dowling, one in Bobby's class. And so they win the title down at Vets, and there's a reception party back at the high school gym, a celebration back at Dowling's gym, and I got no way to get there. So the other cousin, who was a little closer in my age, we walked from Vets Auditorium out to Dowling High School to get out there for the celebration. And I remember being in the gym and watching that whole celebration go down. So that's the first thing. But other than that, and obviously the great career, and always been so gracious and nice all the way through to me every time I call him or text him and all that stuff. Such a great guy.
Lastly, tell us about the foundation, when it got started. What are the details? What do you support?
Yeah, so we got started right 2019, right after we won the NBA title. I just figured now we may have a platform to get out there and do some cool stuff. Got a very strong interest in music. As you know, we started it with some evening of music, so we'd bring in 3 or 4 bands and raise money around that. But we're just supporting kids in three strands: music, sports, and education. I spend a lot of time in the music side. A lot of the money tends to go towards that, but also for a good reason. Those music programs and things seem to get their budgets cut first and all the time and all that stuff. But just going to grow some things out, though. I want to get kids playing. I love to play. Like, it's a hobby, and it's kind of like my little stress reliever, I guess, or whatever. And I just want to get some instruments and get some lessons for kids and any other ways we can support kids around here.
Nurse adds, these days with schools' tight budgets, music and sports are usually the first to suffer program cuts. His foundation supports band, athletics, and classroom literacy. Google Nick Nurse Foundation and please make a donation. More Fight for Iowa podcast is coming up.
Bring on Hawkeyes football with new gear from Shields. From jerseys, hats, and accessories, represent your team's iconic colors at the big game. Shields is your ultimate shopping destination with knowledgeable experts and great customer service to get you fitted for your passion. Whether you love style, sports, or the great outdoors, find it all at your local Shields or Shields.com. Our experts are here to make every day a win. Shields, proud partner of Iowa Athletics and football fans everywhere.
Hello, Iowa. Here's a promise. Wherever you are in this great state, University of Iowa Healthcare is here for you, even if you never walk through our doors. Educating, caring, leading research, sharing our expertise with all. Because we believe that UI Healthcare is here to make all of Iowa better. UI Healthcare, changing medicine, changing lives. Visit uihealthcare.org.
Save time when you shop online with Hy-Vee. Hy-Vee makes it easy to order groceries online through our app or Hy-Vee.com. Pickup is always free. And if you have a Perks Plus membership, you get free delivery and free express pickup. Shop online with Hy-Vee and you can create and save grocery lists, shop the sales, and get fuel savers. Talk about convenience. Order groceries online today. Check out Hy-Vee.com or download the Hy-Vee app.
Iowa men's and women's basketball teams will feature a preseason display with Hawkeye Hoops downtown on Friday, October 17th at 5:30. The squads will be performing on the Burge Dorm outdoor courts just off T.N. Cleary Walkway. The workout is free and open to the public. The Iowa men open their season Election Day, Tuesday, November 4th, hosting Robert Morris at Carver Hawkeye Arena. First-year head coach Ben McCullum doesn't have a lot of big guys clogging the lane. Those will take time to find and fit. The Hawks do have last year's Horizon League Player of the Year in 6'10" Spaniard Alvaro Folgueras, who led his team to a 26-9 mark last season, averaging 14 points, 9 rebounds, and 3 assists. And then there's true freshman Trevin Jirak, a 6'11", 250-pound Iowa Mr. Basketball last season. Jirak powered West Des Moines Valley to 3 consecutive Class 4A state titles, averaging 16 points, 9.5 rebounds, and 3 assists as a senior. Jirak was headed to UNI when McCullum offered a scholarship upon his March arrival at Iowa. Growing up a Hawkeye fan, that was too good to pass up for Jirak.
It's always great to be a Hawkeye. I grew up a Hawkeye fan, so I know how much this means to me to be in the black and gold, so it's always awesome wearing Iowa gear.
I know Drake was involved in your recruiting. You had verbaled or committed to Northern Iowa, and then Coach McCullum comes to Iowa and made that phone call to you, and probably it sounds like it didn't take a whole lot of convincing.
No, not really. Once I got out my letter of intent, I was talking to Mac. It took one phone call for me to already be committed to coming to Iowa. So, yeah, it was a really, really quick turnaround. So, yeah.
So I've only seen you in a couple practices, but the role will be defined as you progress, of course, through your freshman year. But what has Coach told you? What's he want you to do?
Just work on playmaking, because he loves to get the 5-man the ball in 4-on-3 situations. And, we us 4 or 5 men, we start the offense. We kind of control what we do or how the offense works. So it's just making reads and playing and being able to score, but also get others involved at the same time. And just being smart and know what's going to happen at current times and just making the right plays.
You're an outstanding passer, and that will only get better. But you can also dunk the ball and go to the basket. You know how to get points in your total too. But what is it about passing in your mind? What have you been taught about what makes a great passer?
I was probably 8th grade year. I never grew up a great passer until I started to learn and do it more. And one of my AAU coaches, he told me, he's like, the best pass is when you throw it right by their head, and it should nip their ear. And he was a college point guard, and he's like, that's the best pass. And I've always remembered that. And then just playing with AAU summers, I just learned how to pass and how to be more effective with my passing skills. And then you watch Jokic, and he just does a great job of getting others involved by not only just throwing it, but getting his body in it. He's kind of set screens with his backside, and then he just nice bounce passes. You got to be able to pass from many different angles too. So just kind of learning all those different things that other people do that I can add to my game.
How about your new teammates? What do you like about them collectively as a group? I know we got a half a dozen former Bulldogs here, but you've got other schools represented. K-State with Brendan, and obviously Bennett Sturts is fun to play with, I'm sure.
No, they're all awesome. They want to win basketball games. They want to do it at a high level. They all coach pretty well. They tell me what I'm doing wrong, and they help me go through it. And again, I can hang out with them all day. They're all great people. No one's too selfish. No one's thinks they're better than anyone. Everyone's we're one team trying to do the same thing. So it's really awesome being able to be around these guys all day who just want to get better.
Jirak grew 6 inches between his freshman and sophomore seasons, and another 2 inches his senior campaign. That's the Fight for Iowa podcast this week. Thanks for listening. I'm Gary Dolphin. Go Hawks.
You've been listening to the Fight for Iowa podcast. Hawkeye fans, remember to hit the subscribe button on your favorite podcast app. Once you become a Fight for Iowa podcast subscriber, you'll automatically receive the latest episodes of the Fight for Iowa podcast, the Hawkeyes Voice podcast, Hawk Talk replays, exclusive game day content, and more. Until next time, on Iowa, and go Hawks! The preceding has been a Learfield presentation on the Hawkeye Sports Network.